This is Manafest. Welcome to the I'm a Fighter podcast. This is episode number 15.
It's too late, it's my fate, I can't turn around. There's no fear in the mirror to hold me down.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Manafest hanging in the studio on a beautiful Monday afternoon that I am recording this. I just got back from my first doctor's appointment with my daughter, London Grace Greenwood. I'm in love, man. It's been, I guess it's her week and 2 days birthday, and I've been getting sleep, and she is awesome. I just can't stop looking at her and just loving on her, and it is just the most awesome thing. And today I'm just going to be doing some writing, and I wanted to make sure I recorded this podcast. And I've been working on the new record. I'm probably going to do some writing after I record this podcast. I don't even know if the writing I'm going to be working on will actually go on the new album. I'm just going to be writing for the sake of writing because I want to keep getting better. That's one of my goals this year, and just all around is just to continue developing my songwriting so I can get better. Because I realize that, it's one thing to write a good song that can, change someone's life, but if you write a great song, it can change the world. That's what I truly believe. But just been at home, ready to perform a show. Got a show coming up April in San Jacinto. I'm totally messing that up, and I don't even know when you're going to be listening to this podcast if I've already played that show already, but I am ready to perform. Cabin fever. This guy is ready to get out and rip some mics, some stages, rock it out with my band. I got a rehearsal this week with a new guitarist, a dude named Noah. I met at my Bible study, and so we're going to go down and practice. I've been skating, which has been awesome. Oh, man, I've been just nailing my 360 flips, my hard flips, doing some big fat backside 180s. I didn't know if I'd still be skating at a 34, and I am, and I'm still good. I got skills, man. I got skills on the board. I am not at all. I always like to think that I'm humble when it comes to music and just in general, but I like giving a little bit of attitude with skating and thinking I'm really dope because I'm not actually that good. I suck compared to a lot of the guys out there. But anyways, let's jump into this episode, getting started in the music business, part 2. I got a great response from you guys on the last episode of that, and just felt like, man, I got to dive into this because there's people that are interested in starting things, whether that's just art in general, not even necessarily music. There's people that want to get involved. And in this podcast, yes, I want to entertain, I want to inspire, but it's important that we educate you and pump you guys up. The music industry is crazy. I love it. I hate it at the same time. No, I don't hate it, but it's the most volatile industry I've ever been in. And I think the reason I like it so much is because it's not easy. It's so unpredictable. The bands that you think will blow up don't. The ones that you don't think will blow up do. And you just can't fully point your finger on what it is that always works. And at the end of the day, it comes back to the songs and having great songs. With anything, it's your product, it's the quality, but at the same time, it's your marketing and it's being in the right place at the right time. But again, I want to break this down into 3 things I want to talk about today. And the first one is patience. Don't sign the first thing that is put in front of your nose. When I was young, when I was in a hip hop group called Under One King, I don't even remember the name of the guy or the company he had, but he wanted to sign us. And I'll never forget, we were young. We had stars in our eyes. We just performed this showcase at a church, this Battle of the Bands thing, and I think we won it. And he had us over for, tea, coffee, drinks, so we're sitting there in his living room, and I remember him saying to us, you're the type of band that can sell 1 million records, yo, you're the band that can sell 1 million records. And we're like, really? We could sign 1 million records? Oh, that's awesome. And just stars in our eyes. I remember it was mostly me because I was kind of the semi-leader of the group and the one pushing things, and I was like, oh, we got to sign, man. We just got to sign that, someone is interested in us, so we just got to sign right away. And I remember back in the day, I was always like so stoked if anybody would take any positive interest in us. Sometimes if the phone would ring and I didn't recognize the number, I would always think like, oh my gosh, maybe it's like a record company or a manager or someone's calling me. I'm getting found, I'm getting noticed. And I would have just signed anything. And I remember I wasn't home and he came over to my house, I guess, and he dropped off the papers. And I can't remember what the papers were or what they said, but I know we didn't end up signing, and I'm so glad we didn't because it was such a small label, and I don't think he really could have done that much for us and could have been in a really dark, shady contract. I've seen guys that sign contracts that get really messed up. You know, you'd be surprised. Some dudes that have been in some shady stuff, they don't own their music. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about because in the Fighter book, if you've read it, you know the story that I was did a showcase for Tooth and Nail Records and then ended up having a meeting. I did the dumbest thing. This is the thing you don't do. Learn from my mistakes, please. Is you take a meeting with the president of the record label and your friend, and my friend was Trevor who hooked it up, and I bring my hip-hop crew in there for a business meeting. Who does that? One of my guys starts shooting off his mouth and totally embarrasses me, and we end up cutting the meeting short, and I still think everything is going okay. And, and then everything just falls apart right in front of my face because one of my guys is shooting off his mouth talking about money and music videos and how much we're getting for this and being all, what you think you see in the movies and what it actually is in real life is two different things, and ended up spoiling something for me. But it's really interesting in hindsight. Yes, that whole deal went awry for a few years, but a few years later, I'm a different person. I don't know if it was God, it was my lawyer, or all three, but I probably would have signed anything back then. I would have signed anything. And there's a difference between a traditional record deal and a licensing deal. And the difference is one, where when it's a licensing deal, you license your music to a record company for a certain period of time, and then you get it back. You get your music back. You own your masters. You own your product, but you license it to a company, and that's the kind of deal I've signed. Where what a traditional deal is where a record label owns it forever. Now, the good thing about that is then sometimes that they'll invest more into you and then they'll spend more money on you. But normally you don't own your masters. You don't ever own your music. Yes, you own your publishing. And I'm not going to get into all the details about this on the podcast. But just imagine this. Imagine you buy a house and you have a mortgage on it. And then you pay off that mortgage and then you realize you don't own your house. That's depressing. And that's what I don't like about a traditional record deal because they give you an advance, say it's $10,000, they give you a $10,000 advance, and then you pay it back through the record sales. But then in the end, you still don't own your record, and then you still get a really small percentage of what you sell. The label gets the majority over it, okay? Let's not get it twisted. The person that puts up the money is the one that's going to get the majority. That's why I always tell artists, invest in your career, build it up yourself. I remember a guy that was kind of managing me back in the day when I was working my IT job. I wanted to quit so bad and do music full time. And he's like, dude, are you crazy, man? He's like, you're making money. Continue to invest in your career. Invest in your career. And I was like, yeah, dude, you're right, man. I should just be investing in my career. Like, why do I want to go full time so much? Because, when I did start to go full time, like, dang, I remember when I went from 5 days a week to 4 days. That was cool. And I had that extra day and I'd always play a show or I'd do something. But when I went to 3 days a week only, my money was first of all really dropped off and I wasn't making as much money. But I remember being at home kind of like, what do I do with myself now? And it's kind of like I became my own boss. Like when I'd go to work, I was kind of told what to do. But when I started to go into this music thing, it's like I was working for myself. And I sat there a couple of times like, what do I do? Like, so I'd try to book shows or I'd try to write songs, and it's just like I became this entrepreneur and I was my own boss, which is awesome. But at the same time, I had to find my own motivation. And I'd be lying if I didn't tell you there's times I was like crying at home. I was like, what do I do with myself? It's like, because things weren't moving as fast as I wanted them to. And it's like, I was at home and I had the extra time, but it's like, am I really utilizing that time the way I should be? So that's why it's important to have a plan and to have patience and not jump the gun too quickly like I did. Like, you guys know my story, man. I quit my job once I got signed to go on tour, and I went almost broke within 2 or 3 months because I didn't know what I was doing. Even with the manager, with the label, I went broke. I thought I was going to be a rock star, and I got a really wide awakening, and I'm glad I didn't quit. But geez, man, like the music industry is crazy. It's crazy. So patience. Don't sign the first thing that's in front of you. And coming back to it, if you got a job, man, like, kudos to you, man, like, because you need that to invest in your brand. And the first thing I did, which I suggest you do, is register a website. Get your .com or .net or .ca or whatever is available. Register it in your name or your band name. And the reason I say this is because you want to really focus on your home base. Yes, social media is super important, but I'll never forget and realize what a rude awakening we had with MySpace. I spent all this time adding friends, building up MySpace and building up social media, and look what happened to MySpace. It disappeared and it became nothing. Where you want to point people to your website, your home base, because you control that. That is your brand. You use all the social media outlets to promote your company, promote your brand, but you want to have your home base, which is yourname.com, yourbusiness.com or .net or whatever is available, but you want to build your home base, whether that's with your blog and your music and your company, whatever, because I know there's people who are listening to this that aren't in the music industry, but you want to build your own home base. So register your .com. Go to GoDaddy.com and see if that is available. It's super important that you have that and not just social media. And you use social media to promote them back to your website to sign up to your email list. And I'm not going to get into all the marketing and all that stuff there. And then if I was to tell people who are getting started in the music business, this is part 2, and one of the biggest mistakes I see young artists making, and even some artists that have been in this industry for a long time, is to hire a producer. Sure, you're a great songwriter. Maybe you can write the music too and get a great demo. But I see these bands that won't hire a producer and they try and do it all themselves. And the songs may sound good, but they don't sound great. And with the tools out there right now, a lot of bands can sound good. But you want a song that is a smash. You want it to be great. And if you want to stand out from the rest of the artists right now, because like the whole idea is it's a noisy world out there. Yes, the walls have come down in the music industry, and you can put your music up on TuneCore and have it readily available on iTunes worldwide, which is huge. We never had that back in the day, so that we're on the same playing level as the record labels now as far as digital goes. And you need to stick out. So you need to have great songs, man. You need to hire a great producer that will challenge you and take your songs from good and make them great. They might get you to rewrite stuff. They might rewrite your music. And you don't want to get your nose all out of joint, especially if they're actually trying to make it better. And this isn't about a pride thing. It can be. But it's about making a great song. So I always, when I'm working with a producer, if you look on the back of my CD, it'll say produced by, whether it was Adam or Joel or Seth. And I sit down with them and I'm like, dude, I got no pride in this game. I got no whatever. My goal here is to make the greatest song we possibly can. So if you want to fix something, let's fix it. Help me to make it better. Yes, we challenge each other and they stretch me to make the song good. And sometimes it hurts and it's like, I think I got a really great idea. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, why don't you try this? And I'm like, oh, that's way better. And I kind of compare this to, I don't know, do you cut your own hair? No, you don't. You go to a barber because they're professionals. Do you do your own oil changes and fix everything on your car? No, you hire a professional. So it's important to hire people that can do a better job than you. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should be the one doing it. You want to work on your strengths and focus on that. And yes, you can get better at it, but artists, hire a producer. They will help you. That's the one area that I tell artists never to skimp on. If you're going to spend your money and you're going to save your money, don't spend it on your outfit and all the photos, because you know what? If you don't have a great song, again, you don't got nothing. And this is kind of coming from, I talk about this more in detail in that program or course that I launched. It's called Launching Your Career as an Artist, that just basically I want to help artists, man. I went through a lot of stuff, and there's certain things you just don't know and you don't think about until you've gone through it. And I went through some pain, and I had to learn the hard way. And I go into this a lot more in the course, which will totally help you and inspire you. Or if you know someone that's an inspiring artist that wants to get started, launching your career as an artist will help you. And if you do want to sign up for that, go to udemy.com /make music, or you can actually just go to imafighter.net, and there's a link for the program there, and you can actually just download the audio for not for free. I think it's the audio is actually only $17 to get that, or you can take the video course where there's the link to Udemy. So anyways, check that out, launching your career as an artist. That'll help you, man. And I'm definitely interested to hear your feedback on that. We've had over 250 students in that right now, which has been helping out a lot of artists. So super stoked on that. And I want to share a quote with you guys. I'm reading a book right now. Let me just grab it here. I got this at an antique shop. It's called Enthusiasm Makes the Difference by Norman Vincent Peale. This book was written like in the 1950s or 60s, and it is dope. I'm loving it. The quote here by him is, "Your mind will give you back exactly what you put into it." You know, whatever you put in your mind, whether garbage in, garbage out, or you're putting good stuff in your ears, eyes, then good stuff is going to come out. I love what it says in the Bible in Romans 12:2 about being transformed by the renewing of your mind. You know, it's not a one-time thing, you know, when you renew your mind. It is a constant, always putting good stuff in your ears, your eyes, and in your heart, because you want good stuff to come out. Hey, this is called the Fighter Podcast because life is a battle, man. Problems go on. You know, you don't think I haven't had my struggles and even struggling and fear trying to creep up on me with having a daughter and providing and stuff. Stuff tries to come out and I have to kick that fear right in the face. So that's why I'm constantly filling myself up with good stuff, reading the Bible, reading positive books to remind me to keep fighting and to never quit, man. Because things go wrong. But one of the stories he shared in that book I want to share really quickly is, his name's Norman Vincent Peale. He's a preacher. He's a famous dude, sold millions of books. If you haven't read his stuff, check it out. But some guy found him on the street, and he's like, "Dude, you're Norman Vincent Peale. Oh my gosh, you're the guy that wrote the book, Power of Positive Thinking. I can't believe I met you. I need some help, man. I got all these problems, man. Can you help me out?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I can help you." And he's like, "Oh, it's all these problems." And he's like, "Well, I just came from some place where there's over 100,000 people that don't have any problems at all." He's like, "Really?" He's like, take me to them. And he's like, "Well, I can take you or I can tell you where it is, but I'm not sure if you're going to like it." He's like, "Well, please tell me." He's like, "The Westgate Cemetery." And then he went on to say that the only people that don't have problems are dead people. You know, if you're alive and you got problems, that's a good thing. That means you're alive. And if you don't got any problems at all, you need to maybe sit down by your bed and say, "God, trust me, give me some problems, things to overcome, to conquer," because you are more than a conqueror. You do have that inside of you. We were designed to overcome problems. There's just something that is put in us, that's built into us, into our DNA, to conquer, to win, to give back, to bless. It's just within us. Definitely check out that book, man. You know, if you're alive today and hearing this, maybe you're going through junk right now, I encourage you, push through this week. Don't give up. Your answer is just around the corner. Sometimes maybe you just need some sleep. I definitely realized the other day when I wasn't getting sleep because I was up with my daughter, and I start to have some weird negative thoughts, and I'm like, where is that junk coming from? And even if I'm reading something inspiring, I'm still sometimes feeling a little negative. I just realized I need to get a nap. I need to get some sleep. You know what I'm saying? Well, anyways, I want to thank you guys for listening to this podcast. We're over 5,000 plus downloads. If you haven't rated this podcast or left a review, if you can please do that by just going to iTunes and leaving a review and leaving a comment, that'll totally help us by getting this podcast more noticed. And I want to start featuring your questions live. You will get featured on this podcast by going to speakpipe.com/manifest and leave your name, where you're from, and then ask a question, and I might feature that on this podcast. So speakpipe.com/manifest. Well, hey, I want to remind you guys, man, a fighter isn't someone who never fails. A fighter is someone who never quits. So don't quit. The song I want to play for you guys now is Free, produced by my buddy Boy Wonder.
Get out and get up and move on. I'm free to live, free to love, free
so bad, I'm so mad. Why can't I have a life like he has? Autographs, record tracks to the globe and rap. It was a dream that seemed out of my grasp, but wouldn't last. Months passed, spent cash, all that I had to borrow just to stay on my pad and no gas. When dreams turn bitter, and I know I'm not a quitter, I repaint the picture and start with something clearer. I know what it's like, yo, to work so hard, watch it fall apart after leaving your job. God's got your back, it's free at no charge. Speak, I'm free, and believe with your heart.
Free to live, free to love, free to get up, free to get out and get up and move on. I'm free to live, free to love, free to get up, free to get out and get up and move on. From all the pain, all the times I ever cried, for those who spoke lies, I'm gonna make it. From all the days, all the rage I felt inside, I know I'm still alive, not forsaken. Hey yo, my road was long, I choked and coughed, I froze and lost, I brushed it off, I wrote to God, hit me, I got a problem here, can't you see I'm sinking, I'm shrinking, I'm tripping, slipping, searching for some wisdom. Since time is ticking, I've been thinking I'm a sleeping victim. Incline my ear to listen, I was blind, I'm here to switch it. This is when I call to you, I'm calling baller now. Falling up to walk with you, I'm here to put it down. Anything I don't know, download to my soul. Let me be free so I can free those in potholes. Let me sleep easy like the beaches in Tahoe. Help me see clearly, you perform the impossible. Free to live, free to love, free to get up, free to get out and get up and move on. I'm free to live, free to love, free to get up, free to get out and get up and move on. From all the pain, all the times I ever cried, for those who spoke lies, I'm gonna make it. From all the days, all the rage I felt inside, I know I'm still alive, not forsaken.
I've been on and off, searching for a better job. Hip-hop give me an outlet to set it off. My God says I'm free to just sing a song. I walk straight to goals as if my team won. Like the Pentagon, free to drop a bigger bomb. Figured my sisters and brothers, they need a leader, son. Teeter-totted, not wanting to bother. Children need a father, not just payment with dollars. Home of the brave, we're known to rescue and save. In a moment we change, we can't settle for slaves. Hold to the dream, go big or go home. Freedom's in the heart, mind, body, and soul.
Free to live, free to love, free to get up, free to get out and get up and move on. I'm free to live, free to love, free to get up, free to get out and get up and move on. From all the pain, all the times I ever cried,